And hello, back with you guys live on another episode of the Hockey Talk Show, Facebook and YouTube. If you guys are watching this live or on the replay, make sure you guys hit the thumbs up and hit that share button, especially on Facebook and Twitter. Help spread the news that we're talking hockey here with you guys several times a week right here on the Hockey Talk Show. And you get to have your say. That is my favorite part about doing this program. And we will be taking some questions. And we got a lot of topics to cover on the Hockey Talk Show today. As you can see from our title there, we're going to cover basically everything. Islander fans, you guys should not be panicking. Down 0-2, heading to Carolina tomorrow night. We'll get into the details on that. The Rangers, breaking news, pulling off a big trade today with the Carolina Hurricanes. Believe it or not, we'll tell you the big stud prospect the New York Rangers just picked up. John Tavares is going to the World's. Evgeni Malkin trade rumors persist, and the gift that keeps on giving, John Tortorella yells at the media yet again. I love this man so much, both for his coaching and for his press conferences. You'll see him, you'll hear from him on this episode of the Hockey Talk Show. All right, let's get off and running here. Again, if you guys are watching, make sure you hit the thumbs up and hit the share button on Facebook and YouTube. If you're listening on the podcast, thanks so much for doing so. If you're not listening on the podcast, know that we are available on every major podcast network. If you're on Apple Podcasts, please give us 5 stars. And if you watch this on YouTube or Facebook, if you can, go on over and subscribe to the podcast or just give it a quick listen, 5 minutes or so. The podcast is our major source of revenue right now. So we want to keep the Hockey Talk Show going. If you can and you got time, go ahead and listen to that podcast. You might catch up on a piece that you missed. It's always good to listen to the following morning on your way to work or your way home, of course. Priscilla, welcome into the show. And if you guys are in the chat room, make sure you say hello. Throw a question my way. If you have one, I'll be happy to answer them towards the end of the program here. It will be a relatively quick show. We're going to try and run through a whole bunch of topics very, very fast. And let's start with the gift that keeps on giving. Mr. John Tortorella, he is the absolute best. Settles in for his press conference today. Of course, it's Boston and Columbus tonight at 7 o'clock. It is 6:37 p.m. in the East at the time of our broadcast here, in case you're listening on the podcast and you were curious. But here's John Tortorella addressing the media here, and this is how the guy starts. I absolutely love this man. Let's take a listen to John Tortorella.
What could you possibly ask me today after 2 days? Oh, well, 1 day, but...
I'll be the victim. So I was just asking Cam Atkinson how Torts is most like Jerry York. And he said, give small guys a chance.
I don't know how to
Did he
answer
have
that.
to convince you of that originally, or?
Who?
Cam.
Convince me of what?
That being small, he could get the job done.
Oh, come on, ask me a hockey question here. Let's go. I got things to do. Ask me a hockey question.
Over here.
He is the absolute best. He's the absolute best. I mean, he sets the tone just by sitting down at the podium. I don't know what you guys could possibly ask me after 2 days. That's a good point. And then you notice the reporter, I don't know who that was. I'm guessing Aaron Portzline. I couldn't really hear him though. Goes, all right, I'll be the victim. Knew he was going to get chewed up. Just knew it. Knew he was going in and he was getting chewed up. Go Jackets from Rob. Series tied at 1-1. This goes back to Columbus. And a couple of interesting thoughts on this series right away here. This is the first time ever. See, the Islander fans are getting this to some degree because a lot of the Islander fans that were around for 93, a lot of the Islander fans that were around for the Cup years, they're still around. A lot of the fans for the Islanders never really saw second-round playoff success. We saw it in Florida a couple of years ago, but it hasn't really been a lot. There's been a lot of new Islander fans coming to the fold. So a lot of the Islander fans are seeing the second round for the first time, or it feels like forever. But Columbus has never, ever seen the second round, and they've never seen it at home at Nationwide Arena, and it is going to be an absolute energetic game. That's why, even though I picked Boston in the series, I think Columbus comes out blazing tonight, and they take a 2-1 series lead in their first ever second-round home game at Nationwide Arena against the Boston Bruins. I think Columbus is going to have an amazing night tonight, And I think it's going to be one hell of a game. Not that I don't think St. Louis and Colorado is going to be a hell of a game too, but I think Columbus specifically, again, because it's their first ever time in Nationwide Arena with the cannon and the crowd. And they've been waiting a really, really long time for this. It's been a while since the National Hockey League expanded to Columbus, and they're finally going to get to see a second round playoff game in their home rink. I think it's just going to be absolutely and utterly electric over there in Nationwide Arena. So good luck to them. By the way, this is also important and worth noting because I feel like Boston really does have a tremendous fourth line and an absolute unbelievable bottom six. Better than the Islanders' bottom six, which a lot of people tout. But let's not overlook this. Sean Corrali, who's having one hell of a playoff, really been the driving force behind the Boston Bruins with Coyle and all those guys. He is from Ohio. So Sean Corrali is the absolute result of the Columbus Blue Jackets being in existence. I don't know if we have a Sean Corrali in the National Hockey League if it wasn't for the fact that Columbus started their expansion, started their team, and started then placing hockey rinks in the community, started young Blue Jackets hockey programs, all this kinds of stuff. And now Sean Corrali, here he is, grows up, big boy, comes into the Bruins organization. He's going to go into his essentially home state. I think he's not from Columbus exactly, but I think he's from really close by. But he's going to go back into his hometown, and he's going to try and put his hometown team down 2-1. So I feel like a lot of Columbus Blue Jackets fans are going to be rooting for Sean Corrali, but not rooting too hard whatsoever. Let's go over to the Islanders and why we shouldn't panic. Priscilla's got a great question here. Let's address it right away. Do I think the Islanders playing at the Barclays Center versus the Nassau Coliseum made a difference? I think you can't blame your surroundings on how well you perform. The Islander fans are as rambunctious and loud at the Barclays Center. The problem is that room is so cavernous that it doesn't carry the same weight and electricity that it does at the Nassau Coliseum. I don't think that matters. And I know if you listen to local radio over here, somebody sent me a clip earlier of Boomer and Carton, who do a phenomenal... Oh, wait, no, who's the new guy? Boomer and Gio, who are the local New York talk station. You may have even seen them because they're on CBS network or whatever. Very successful, not taking anything away from them. Boomer Esiason is a huge hockey fan. I value his opinion. For those of you guys who are unfamiliar, Boomer Esiason's daughter, Sydney, is actually engaged to Matt Martin, who's on the Islanders. So I'm not questioning the man's hockey knowledge, but I do disagree with him where I don't think that was that big of a factor. Look, and this is the point of the title of this episode, and this is what we'll touch on for the Islanders here. You can't panic. There is no panic in this team. These were super close games. By the way, the rest of the series is going to be exactly like this. They're going to be 1-goal games. This is not going to be a 3-4 goal deficit type of a series. That is going to be exactly like this. I just think the Islanders didn't get the puck luck that they needed, and I think if they keep at it, it will be a close series. I think this is going to go 7, if not 6. And I'm not taking anything away from Carolina because when you look at this team, and I've been watching tape of them too, and I talked about this on a previous episode of the Hockey Talk Show. We said they were the greatest team in the National Hockey League from December, I think it was late December, early January on. There was nobody better. There was nobody putting up more points than the Carolina Hurricanes. They locked in, and they played really well, and they are a good young team. They're filled with a lot of quote-unquote unknowns, but you cannot take anything away from the Carolina Hurricanes. The interesting thing is everybody gives the New York Islanders credit for being that tough, hang-around, in-your-face, nagging team. Carolina is the exact same way. Boston, to a degree, is the exact same way, although Boston has a lot more firepower with Patrice Bergeron and Pasternak and all their offensive weapons. By the way, am I the only one who has totally not gotten sick of the David Pasternak Dunkin' Donuts penalty box commercial during the playoffs? We see it at least 7 times a game. I swear to God, I chuckle every single time Pasternak yells and chirps at the referee and then decides to order a medium instead of a large because he only has 2 minutes. I mean, it's cheesy. It's sort of dad humor. Maybe because I'm a dad and I'm really tired. I don't know. But I love that stupid Dunkin' Donuts David Pasternak commercial. Every single time, it gets an absolute chuckle out of me. Every single time. But to get back to the Islanders and the Carolina Hurricanes, the Islanders did everything that they needed to do to win. How many posts did they hit? How many close opportunities? They will figure out a way to close. They will make this series interesting. I think they go in tomorrow night and they take game 3 for sure. I don't know about game 4. I think if you come out of that series with a split, you'll be super happy. Coming back to the Barclays Center, giving yourself a chance next Sunday, I think it'll be good for the Islanders. I do think they split. I don't think this is a sweep by any stretch of the imagination. But if you take a look at Barry Trotz the whole way, this is what this guy is good at. This is where he lives. He is experienced in this. Lest we not forget, he took the Caps down 0-2 and wound up taking the next 4 and taking them right into the Stanley Cup. So, not to say that this is going to happen for the Islanders, but you have a coach that's calm. You have a team that's confident in what they're doing. They know the chips may fall. Let's see what happens. It's not the time to panic if you're an Islander fan. Not whatsoever. I think the Islanders come back in a big way and frustrate the Carolina Hurricanes in their first home game, round 2, in quite a while. Dominic on Facebook, Bruins, baby. I have inside secrets. Krejci and Miller are back tonight. I don't think it really matters, Dominic. I mean, that very well may be, but I don't think it matters because if we've known anything from the Boston Bruins, they can plug anybody into this lineup and they have a chance to win. Absolutely, without a doubt, have a chance to win. Brian, what's your prediction? My prediction on what? Be a little bit more specific, my man. I'm talking about 400 different things on this one. But I do like making predictions. Let's talk about the New York Rangers for a second while we're on the topic of the Carolina Hurricanes. They actually made a trade today, which is super rare that a team in the playoffs will make a trade, but it involves a college prospect. And if you're a Ranger fan, it is a good one. It is a good one. By the way, Dominic brings a good point about Mrazek. I do love the fact that Mrazek is out and McElhinney is in. McElhinney did great. He really put it to the Islanders. He had a good, came in and made the saves. Good save from McElhinney all around, coming in relief. But I think the Islanders have a better chance of beating McElhinney than Mrazek. Mrazek was ridiculously frustrating. And McElhinney's a pro. And he is a big part of this team getting into the postseason. But I think the Islanders have a better chance at him. And yes, to go along with Dominic is saying, crashing the net will break his leg. Okay, he got injured somewhere, but yeah, I think crashing the net, a little bit more bodies in front will be key for the Islanders. Also, will be interesting to see who comes in for Cal Clutterbuck. And by the way, and I think we'll find this out after this season, but Cal Clutterbuck has been injured the entire postseason. If you watch the games as closely as I do, you've seen him skate. It's been a little bit ginger. He hasn't been crouched down, knees bent as much as he usually is. He's actually a pretty decent skater, and he hasn't been this playoff. Whatever it was that was injured him and hurt him, if you watch the game, you saw Matt Martin actually have to help him off the ice. I think he's been hurt the whole entire time. So might be a smidge of a blessing to have him out because I feel like a healthy non-Cal Clutterbuck player is actually is better for the Islanders than Cal Clutterbuck, as injured as he was. Michael Dal-Cole was in the practice lineup for the Islanders today. He was in. Actually, he went into Kuhnackel's spot, and Kuhnackel went down to the 4th line, so I think Dal-Cole gets the call. But it is kind of interesting, and I'm not one of these, Ho-Sang's got to play guys, but if you're hurting for offense, only 1 goal in 2 games, you got to take a serious look at bringing up 26. I mean, you got to take a serious look at it. I think Kuhnackel's actually had a great series. I like Michael Dal-Cole's game, but you need offense now. I wouldn't be surprised if the Islanders are sitting there with 3 L's and Clutterbuck's still out, that they don't go calling for Josh Ho-Sang. Bridgeport's out of it now, so everybody is available. It'll be interesting to see. I especially think if Dal-Cole comes in and doesn't do well, we could see 26, but I don't want to start those rumors. I'm not one of those, Ho-Sang needs to be on this team kind of guys, because we all know his defense sucks, and that's what's cost him his playing time so far in the National Hockey League. I do think that the Islanders will win this series still. I just do. I just think that they've had more chances. They've played better, more. They haven't had the puck luck. These things tend to even out over a 7-game series. They will make their way back in, and I think they take it in 6, if not 7. I think they take it in 7, if not 6. I should say it that way. Well, let's talk about the New York Rangers, who beefed up their blue line in a major, major way. Huge prize collegiate defenseman Adam Fox, who was originally a draft pick of the Calgary Flames, was involved in the Calgary-Carolina trade, goes over to Carolina. He opts to go back to Harvard, for his fourth and final year, which most likely means that the Hurricanes wouldn't be able to sign him. The Rangers go in there and say, let's go pull this move. They send a second-round draft pick and a conditional third in next year's draft for Adam Fox. It's a safe bet because they have a ton of draft picks from all the sales that they've been making, in the last couple of seasons. They've been selling off a lot of players for picks as they continue their rebuild. But solid move from Jeff Gordon here. They go out, 2 expendable picks for Adam Fox. Prize prospect, this kid. I haven't seen a ton of him here, but everywhere I look, everybody is praising this young guy. And the move that I really like, he's from Jericho, New York, which is on Long Island, which means they think that they can sign him. So let's see what happens. Rangers, in a rare playoff trade move, go out and scoop up Adam Fox. I like it big time for the New York Rangers. They continue to build their stable. They continue the slow build. If they're going to add an Artemi Panarin or somebody big in the offseason, something like this is going to go really, really far for that second and third year. You can go out to prospects now, potential free agents, and go, look, we got these guys, we got that guy. Come in. This year might be rough, but the next 2 years looks like things are really, really shaping up. John Tavares has committed to the Canadian roster for the World Championships in Slovakia starting in just 10 days. He will be there along with Tyler Bertuzzi from the Wings, Anthony Cirelli from the Lightning, Sean Couturier, Adam Henrique, Matthew Joseph from the Lightning, Anthony Mantha, Jonathan Marchessault, Sam Reinhart, Mark Stone, Dylan Strome, and Kyle Turris amongst the other forwards named to the Canadian national roster. So congratulations to all of those guys for making their way in over there. I do want to touch a little bit on this Evgeni Malkin trade rumor that has been going on. We talked about this after the Islanders bounced the Pittsburgh Penguins in 4 games. They talked about, trade Malkin. I said it's stupid to trade Malkin. Just look at the rest of your roster. There are plenty of guys there making well under $2 million a year that didn't really pull their weight. You don't trade in Evgeni Malkin. You don't make that move. You don't get players like him around often. A couple things that I read from the Pittsburgh Tribune Review today that makes me think that maybe it is possible that Malkin does get moved in the offseason. I'm not one to buy into rumors a whole bunch, but maybe he does get moved. And there are 2 contributing factors as to why I think this might be a possibility. A very small possibility still, but a possibility nonetheless. According to Mark Madden, he believes the Penguins are willing to trade Malkin. He points out that general manager Jim Rutherford declined to commit to keeping Malkin in Pittsburgh last week when he was asked. Madden said the Penguins were very unhappy with Malkin's performance and attitude this season. While he averaged over a point per game, you don't trade guys like that, he had a team worst plus-minus of -25 and a team-high 84 turnovers. There's no doubt that Evgeni had a little bit of a rough year this year, specifically in the playoffs. He was really got shut down against the New York Islanders. It was a rough playoff for him, but it was a rough playoff for that entire Pittsburgh team. But here's the thing that kind of caught my eye. This is from Mark Madden's article in the Pittsburgh Tribune Review. The longtime Penguins center was also insubordinate to head coach Mike Sullivan on one document occasion and shows little willingness to change his game. According to Madden, the Penguins believe a return gained from trading Malkin could be used for a mini rebuild around team captain Sidney Crosby. There's no doubt that Crosby still has a bunch of good years left in him. Jake Gensel is obviously going to be a big part of this Penguins team moving forward in the future. But if Malkin's not getting along with the coach, maybe not this year, but it could be. Maybe he is going to be the expendable one. Again, I don't think you trade a Sidney Crosby ever, period. I don't think you're really trading Evgeni Malkin, but I can see that door creaking open a little bit and a little bit of sunlight peeking through there for sure. The other thing is, look at the last time the Penguins had a premature exit. They cleaned house. It wasn't player wise, it was front office wise, but still they made the move to bring in Jimmy Rutherford to begin with. I don't think that Mario Lemieux is an extremely patient owner. I think he expects this team to win, a la George Steinbrenner, and he's willing to make whatever changes are necessary. So the coach thing and the fact that the Penguins have cleared house before kind of makes me feel like, this is a possibility. These guys actually entertaining some offers from Malkin. Do they go out and say, hey, what do you give me for Malkin? Maybe not that obvious, but maybe letting this kind of lie out there. They'll get some calls in the offseason and see. Let's move over quickly to the Sabres and Jeff Skinner. Lance Lisowski of the Buffalo News believes the Sabres will have competition if Skinner decides to test the UFA market on July 1. Sabres could still be a favorite as they carry over $23 million in cap space, putting them in a strong position to sign the 26-year-old to a long-term investment. Skinner also developed instant chemistry with Jack Eichel upon his arrival from Carolina last summer, and he openly praised the club's young core of talent. Lisowski, however, points out that the Florida Panthers could target Skinner if they fail to sign Artemi Panarin, who's obviously going to be the big prize. Skinner will be in that sort of B category this year in the UFA market. The Rangers are also been linked to bringing in Jeff Skinner, as they'll be linked to everybody in the offseason. And finally, on the Oilers GM search, David Staples of the Edmonton Journal cites Ryan Rishog's report and Sportsnet's John Shannon's report denying a claim that former Detroit Red Wings general manager Ken Holland will become the next GM of the Edmonton Oilers. This is something that we speculated about. I think he goes to Seattle, though, and not necessarily Edmonton. Mark Spector believes the Oilers could be making a grave mistake if they don't have a new GM in place by the time for the draft. He feels they need one in place before then to clear out some cap space in order to pursue a couple of mid-range free agents. Totally agree with that assessment. You're going to free up some cap space there. You're going to make some moves. If you're not in place in time for the offseason as a general manager for the Edmonton Oilers, you risk pushing back this rebuild or this refocusing of that franchise by another year, literally. I mean, you literally got to get some of these things done in the offseason when there's no cap space issues to worry about and all that kind of stuff. That really becomes the issue. And finally, I want to leave off with this. NHL playoffs so far, as per NBC, the ratings are up. They've had a couple of advantages this year, and this is important because this directly affects the salary cap. Salary cap is based off of revenue. Revenue has shot up, and the salary cap has gone up every single year because of the TV money that's been poured into the league. Pay attention, Maple Leafs fans. This is going to be super important for you guys when you're trying to sign Mitch Marner and everybody else you got to get under contract. But for every team in general, they're going to see, who are staring at this cap space crunch, you're going to get a little bit more room if TV revenues continue to go up. It's a good thing for the league across the board. NBC, NBCSN, CNBC, USA Network, NBCSports.com, they have all seen a total audience delivery of around 778,000 viewers, making it the most watched first round in 7 years. NBC Sports' third most watched first round ever since 2006, and up 1% versus last year at 769,000. I think this is the involvement of the New York Islanders, believe it or not, because the New York market is a big one. And, you have a couple of other big markets. These numbers will continue to go up because the league has done a really good job marketing the product, especially with the NBC brands. It's been a great partnership. Where this will really start to skyrocket is when the Kings are involved, the Rangers are involved, and the Chicago Blackhawks are involved. Once you start getting into some of those really, really big markets, you'll see these numbers go up even more. But again, you may not care about TV ratings, and I totally get that. But if you care about your team's cap space, this needs to continue to go up so that hockey revenue can go up so that the cap space can go up. I would love to take some more questions, but I got to leave it there. Nice little concise show. Don't forget to go over to the Hockey Talk Show podcast. You can find us at hockeytalkshow.com. We're on every major network. Give that podcast a listen. Again, if you watch this whole entire show, thank you. If you have 5 minutes to go ahead and click play, you can turn the volume all the way down for all I care. I don't care. As long as that thing plays and our ads go on the podcast, we're getting revenue, which I appreciate. So that could be your little way of making your donation. 3 minutes of your time to listen to the podcast would be very, very helpful. We're on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, Stitcher, TuneIn, and all the other major networks. Again, links and info up at hockeytalkshow.com. And don't forget to give this video the thumbs up and hit the share button, especially if you're on Facebook. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell on YouTube so that when we do go live, you won't miss a second of the Hockey Talk. Priscilla, thank you. Rob, Dominic, Brian, everybody in all the chats. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your questions. We will do another show, of course, this week. We'll probably do at least 2 or 3 more. So we're getting into the thick of it now. Playoff time. It's exciting hockey. We got some rumors starting. Of course, we know RFA apocalypse is coming this offseason. There's going to be a lot of people shifting around. A lot of RFAs out there. We think there's going to be a couple of offer sheets. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Draft and free agency. And it's going to be a busy next couple of months here on the Hockey Talk Show. So spread the word to all your hockey friends, even if it's not on social media, around the water cooler. Next time you see them at the barbecue in the next couple of weekends, let them know Hockey Talk Show has your hockey talk. Enjoy the action tonight. Again, give me the Columbus Blue Jackets at home against the Bruins. San Jose, Colorado. In Colorado tonight. Man, it's a close one. Give me the Colorado Avalanche, even though I have San Jose taking that series. That's it for me. Enjoy the hockey action. I will see you guys on the next shift. Have a great night.